The crisis of Haitian migrants trying to cross the U.S.-Mexico border escalated today as a top American diplomat resigned over what he called the inhumane treatment of Haitians by mounted patrol agents. WGN's Mike Lowe has more.
Disturbing images showing U.S. Border Patrol agents mounted on horseback using their reins to intimidate, then grabbing and rounding up Haitian migrants drew condemnation and grim comparisons to slavery and the historic mistreatment of black people in the United States. In a sharply critical resignation letter, diplomat Daniel Foote wrote to Secretary of State Antony Blinken, quote, "I will not be associated with the United States' inhumane, counterproductive decision to deport thousands of Haitian refugees and illegal immigrants to Haiti, a country where American officials are confined to secure compounds because of the danger posed by armed gangs in control of daily life." The White House responded, acknowledging missteps but criticizing the resignation at a critical juncture.
Special Envoy Foote had ample opportunity to raise concerns about migration during his tenure. He never once did so.
Haiti is the poorest country in the Western Hemisphere and has been struggling with instability brought on by the assassination of its president in July, a massive earthquake in August, the spread of the coronavirus, widespread hunger, and an increasing threat of violent crime.
We are hard-pressed in the year 2021 to find more traumatizing and blatantly racist images than those coming out of Del Rio area. White and white-presenting men on horseback with lariats, chasing, yelling, and cursing at vulnerable black asylum seekers who have for weeks and months been resolutely traveling towards what they thought was safety of the United States.
Thousands of Haitians have since flocked to the Texas border, particularly in the past week, where they've crossed the Rio Grande into the U.S. and have been aggressively confronted by Border Patrol agents on horseback.
There were more than 90,000 people who departed the country, who attempted to cross our border in the month of August. That was even before we saw the horrible photos that we saw of people gathering under the bridge. There is a process that is in place as people, whether they're coming from Haiti or any part of the world, goes through.
In response to the outrage over the images showing those agents on horseback, the Biden administration announced today it would suspend all horse patrols in the migrant camp in Del Rio, Texas.
We feel those images are horrible and horrific. There is an investigation the president certainly supports, overseen by the Department of Homeland Security, which he has conveyed will happen quickly.
And today, Illinois Attorney General Kwame Raoul joined with a number of other attorneys general from across the United States in calling for the, quote, compassionate treatment of Haitian refugees. Reporting in the newsroom, Mike Lowe, WGN News.